So that happened. So Morbius is the latest Marvel superhero film, this one being based on Morbius, the living vampire, who in this one is being portrayed by Jared Leto. And Morbius is a scientist who has had this very rare blood condition for all of his life and has been trying to search for a cure. However, he finds a cure, but when he tries this cure on himself, he ends up developing a form of vampirism. Alrighty guys, so let's get into Morbius.
Excellent!
Okay, so as far as the things that I liked about Morbius, oh boy. As far as performances go, Matt Smith looks like he's having a lot of fun in the role. Throughout the film, there are these small glimpses of what could be a really cool superhero vampire movie.
Well, that's just fucking great!
Yeah, I was not looking forward to Morbius at all. Those trailers were not good at all, and the more that I saw from those trailers, the less and less optimistic that I got. The constant delays, the reshoots, I even heard it was re-edited, so as y'all can imagine, still, the red flags for me just kept higher and higher and higher. Still though, nonetheless, I went into Morbius with an open mind, even after seeing all those terrible trailers, thinking, you know what, maybe this film could still surprise me. Oh god, this movie isn't good, like, at all. Nothing is wrong with the performances. I mean, Jared Leto is doing everything that he can, Matt Smith is doing everything he can, Jared Harris is barely in the movie, Tyrese Gibson barely in the film, his detective partner of the film, barely in the movie, so the performances aren't what's wrong with the film. In fact, the performances are fine. It's everything else this movie that is just... First of all, when it comes to the plot of the film, you have seen this plot a billion times before. And now, really quick, I'm just going to explain the plot to you all, and you can tell me in the comments whether you have seen this plot or not. There is a guy who has had this disease or this condition for all of his life, and when he finally finds this experimental cure, it ends up going bad for him. You could probably tell me at least 10 names of movies at the top of your head that have this exact same plot. Millions of movies have done this plot many times beforehand, but at least try something different, but this movie doesn't do anything different. The plot is so transparent, guys, that you can tell everything that's gonna go on. And yes, next point here, this movie's plot is so predictable. In the first 10 minutes of Morbius, I not only knew who the main villain was, I knew all the twists. Everything is 100% transparent. Like, it's as if they weren't even trying with this movie. And not only is it predictable, by the way, it is dull as can be, and this is about as generic as it possibly gets when it comes to a superhero film. Also, the writing in this movie, oh my god. Fun fact for you all, guess who wrote this film, guys? The writers of Gods of Egypt. Everything made so much sense when I found that out. Not only is the plot transparent in terms of what's gonna happen, the dialogue as well is just, I wouldn't say it's bad dialogue, but at the same time you just think, people wrote this? There's a certain point in this movie where the plot and the dialogue are so uninspired and so generic that you can actually tell what lines are gonna be said. Everything else in terms of the script just feels lazy. And the action sequences of Morbius, I mean, the action exists, it just feels very assembly line like action. Like, it feels like that any director could have plopped a camera and just got a couple $1 million of CG and just plopped an action sequence. The CG of the action, I mean, it would have been cool to see some of the action if a lot of the action wasn't condensed to a bunch of CGI blobs of lines of vampires transporting everywhere. A lot of the time it's just Morbius and his CGI form just slashing people with barely any blood in the film. I'll give the studio the benefit of the doubt because I guarantee it could only show so much blood before an R rating, but come on guys, you could have done something here with this. And in all honesty, even more so, the action in this film feels like a superhero action film from like the early 2000s, like let's say Fantastic Four. And oh my god, something else I have to say. The editing of this movie. Who edited this movie? Seriously. Within the first 10 minutes of Morbius, the editing just feels really weird and off. There are some sequences in this movie where you can tell that it should have been longer, but it feels like it was cut shorter just for the sake of a shorter runtime. Not to mention as well, there's certain aspects where the editing just left me very, very confused. This is just some of the weirdest editing I have seen in a vampire movie, or just any movie in a very long time. And by the end, I was just like, what the heck did I just watch? And oh my god, the pacing. Holy crap. Morbius is about an hour 45 minutes. There were times this movie felt 3 hours. There were multiple times this movie, guys, I'm not even joking, I struggled to stay awake. There were multiple times where I had restless leg syndrome because I was trying to keep myself awake with how bored I was. This movie, guys, is boring. It's been years since I have been bored this much by a superhero film. And I guess, yeah, should I talk about the shirt, the post-credit sequences? I mean, they're there. You can watch them if you want, but in all honesty, guys, they make no sense.
And here we go.
So overall, Morbius was just as bad as I thought it could have been. Honestly, even more so. Morbius is a disaster on every single level. It's dull, generic, lazy, but most of all, it is boring. Honest to God, Morbius is one of the worst superhero films I have seen in a long time. All in all, guys, I'm gonna give Morbius a 0.5 out of 5. The reason why it's not a 0 is because I was an absolute torture watching this movie, but nonetheless, guys, please stay far away from Morbius. So comment down below and let me know. Have you guys seen Morbius? Are you gonna go see it this weekend? Let me know below. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I'm also on Snapchat. So if you all want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all links in the usernames are in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed my review of Morbius. If so, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for when my latest review goes live. If you guys want to see any of my previous 2 videos, please click either right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.